Hi.
How are you?
Oh my God. I am very good, very excited. You guys look so different when you're at home than at camp. Like in a good way.
We wanted to tell you that we were making shakshuka today at my house. We're giving a little lesson to the CBM friends and community, and we wanted to ask you about shakshuka.
Yay! I love shakshuka.
We know.
And I love answering questions.
Okay, so we hear that shakshuka is super popular in Israel. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. The reason it's so popular, first of all, it's delicious. But I think it's great food because you can eat it for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. It could be something to go that you just put inside a pita and then you take with you, or you can just sit at a table and eat it really slowly and enjoy it with friends. So, I mean, it's just perfect. It doesn't take too long to make. So it could be a great solution if I just have just a little time to cook, as if I cook. But yes, if I cook, you don't need to spend a lot of time. And there are lots of versions of shakshuka. Do you know that it
Yeah, I was
changes?
going to ask what your favorite type was.
Oh my God. So I love to do a mix because usually shakshuka comes with tomatoes. So most of the sauce is tomatoes. But for me, I love shakshuka when it's made, the base is sweet potato.
Mm.
So this is it's great. So if you put the sweet potato as the sauce, but you also make it spicy, like maybe with the schug or Tabasco, the American version.
What was the first thing you said?
I said schug.
Shrug?
Yes, it's Yemenite. It's very, very, very spicy.
Oh.
It's like, yes, Tabasco is like a baby next to schug. So, and this is why. So, and also, so my favorite is sweet potato as the base for the shakshuka. But you can use lots of vegetables. I mean, some people do it with eggplant, if you like it.
Yeah.
Tomatoes is the most common, and everybody knows it with tomatoes. But you can also use, I mean, the reason it's so popular because sometimes it's just with vegetables. Some people put beef inside their shakshuka. So it becomes something very, very different. But it's just, people love it. Great food.
Do you think, is there any history or tradition or times when people eat shakshuka more than others?
I think it's very popular when you go outdoors. So if you spend a night out, I mean, if you just camp out, so usually shakshuka would be it. And one of the reasons, it's very, very difficult to ruin shakshuka because you can't really overcook it. You can't really undercook it because you look at the eggs and if they look right, it's probably ready. You can add different sauce and no matter who eats it, you can always say that this is the flavor that you wanted it to taste like. So even if it's a little burn and someone is saying something, some people love burning their shakshuka. So you can, I mean, if you cook, it's always a success. You can always say, that's exactly how I planned this to taste.
How do you like your eggs in your shakshuka?
Medium, I would say. Not completely rare, but definitely not well done.
And how do you know when they're at medium, when you're cooking it? What's your trick?
Just the color. So when you cook it, if you have like a spoon, if you just touch the top, where the yellow stuff is, so if it's still moving and a bit shaky, you know, so it depends on how much it really moves. Like when it's well done, it becomes very, very stiff. But so you can actually see it, but also feel it. So you can see how it really, if it moves or not. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely shakshuka. I strongly recommend.
Okay, we're gonna give it a go today.
We're gonna make it.
Woohoo! So
We'll
as
send
a
you some
tribute,
pictures.
tonight's dinner at the Paz's, we're gonna make shakshuka.
Will you take some pictures and share some
Yes,
pictures with
I
us?
will take some
Okay,
pictures.
thank you.
Okay, that sounds great.
It's going to be tomato shakshuka, but we're gonna make shakshuka.
Okay.
Great. Yay.
Yay. We're so glad that you were able to join us today.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be there. And I miss camp.
Yeah.
I miss camp, and I miss the
miss
campers,
camp.
and I miss my yeah. But I mean, we do celebrate camp all the time. I mean, with Matan and Tal, we play songs and we record stuff, and we're gonna send some more stuff. So I hope this would only be the one summer that we didn't spend at camp, and then yes. But I love camp, and I think it's great, and I miss Old City Kitchen, Camper's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
When-
Okay, well, we're gonna send you pictures and you
Okay.
send us pictures.
Woo! I
See you
will.
next summer
All right.
in person.
And
Bye.
bye from Israel, playing soccer.
Bye.
Okay. First thing we need to do is put a little bit of olive oil in a saute pan. Can you see me doing it? Just put a little bit of olive oil in a saute pan. And now we're going to cut up some vegetables. Do you mind cutting up that onion?
Not at all.
You're probably only going to need a half an onion to feed about 4 or 5 people.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I'm going to cut up a half of a red pepper. Did you know that I read that some shakshuka can be totally green? They call it Shakshuka. It's made with tomatillos, spinach, and sort of like a cheese sauce.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they poach eggs in that. So that would be a different kind of shakshuka to the traditional tomato base.
Yeah. And as Debbie was saying, there's so many different ways to make shakshuka.
Right. Actually, shakshuka means mixed up.
Oh,
Isn't that neat? So all the items are just going to be mixed up. And usually you can use anything that you have in your fridge. You may not even have to go to the store. I love the fact that shakshuka can be used for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You know what else is neat? When Deddy said that some people add meat and some people would eat it with cheese and some people would use it for a vegan dish.
I'm very
so good.
emotional.
I'm sorry that I'm making
That's
you
okay.
cry, friend.
I have a thing where as soon as I start, it gets, and then it goes away. So
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and put your onions in and get them sauteed.
So tell me about how much. I know you said half, but
Right.
So.
So half of that.
Okay.
Okay. So we're just going to saute some onions. And when we do it, our traditional recipe in the Old City Kitchen, we use some minced garlic that we keep in the refrigerator. You can use whole cloves of garlic that you cut up and saute in here. You can use, today I'm just going to do quickly a little bit of garlic, dried garlic. And there's really not an amount, it just depends on how much you like. That's the beauty of shakshuka, is that you put everything in and you keep tasting it and making sure that that's the way you like it. Some people use a cast iron skillet for making shakshuka, a nicely seasoned skillet. Remember, if you're using a seasoned skillet, to make sure that you always use pot holders, because that pot's going to get really hot and you're going to need, and heavy. You're going to need 2 hands to manipulate it. Okay. I'm ready to add the peppers to the onions that are simmering in olive oil. And then can start adding some of your spices. Again, I know I said this before, but shakshuka, it really translates into mixed up. So you can use the kind of spices that you and your family like. The first thing I'm going to add is a little bit of salt. And pepper. Okay. Now remember, you want to add some chili powder. I have a chili lime seasoning.
What was the stuff? Do you remember the name of the stuff Daddy said? Cume?
Shum. Yeah, we'll have to
look into that.
We'll have to look into that. And again, if you like hot and spicy, like my family does, go ahead and just let it rip. I think one of the things that makes shakshuka different than traditional like tomato sauce is definitely cumin. So I like a lot of cumin. While your vegetables are cooking down, you can go ahead and cut up some fresh tomato, which we're going to use for the top. When these vegetables become a little more translucent, maybe another 2 or 3 minutes, we're going to put in a can of crushed tomatoes. Any kind, any brand, crushed tomatoes. I'm also adding some orange peppers for more color. We already put red in. And here's a neat little trick I learned a few years ago. Look, you can use the entire thing and just throw away the little top. Okay, so now that we've cooked down the vegetables, and here's a good trick. If you want the vegetables to cook quicker, cover it for a little bit, and it'll make them softer. Okay, so add your, now be careful because that pan is hot. About half the can of crushed tomatoes. Okay, this pan is hot, so you want to turn it down a little bit and let it keep simmering. You can just keep stirring to make sure all the flavors are melding together. Okay, so how do you know if it has enough spice? You gotta taste it. Okay, yes, taste tester. Of course we're using a clean spoon. And no double dipping. Once you taste, the spoon goes in the sink.
Good?
Good?
Spicy enough?
Maybe some more spice.
A little spicier? Okay. Remember, I said my family likes spicy, so we're going to go ahead and do a little bit more chili powder. And definitely more cumin. You should be able to lean over carefully and smell how fragrant that cumin smells. All these veggies are nice and soft, so we're ready to put eggs in. Here's the thing about eggs. You can, traditionally, shakshuka has poached eggs, but I have one of the little people that live here like scrambled eggs, so we do his scrambled in a separate pot, no problem. You can do an over easy egg in a separate pot and just lay it on top when you're ready to eat. But here's how we're gonna do poached eggs. You're gonna make a little hole with your spoon for the eggs. That's gonna house the eggs. And then we're gonna crack them right into the pot. Egg number 1. Egg number 2. And it's okay if they break. Don't be sad. It's still going to taste delicious. This makes your house smell fantastic. Although it does make everybody very hungry. Okay, I'm just gonna do one in the middle and we're gonna be ready.
If you're afraid of getting some shell into your shakshuka, you can always break the eggs into another small bowl or a ladle and add them one at a time so you don't get any shell.
Yeah. Okay, I just added some smoked salt and I'm watching the eggs. We're watching to see how, see the white part are getting whiter, for lack of a better word. They're not as translucent. And also when the yellow yolks, they'll like rise up just a little bit. And you can see that is definitely not ready. Okay, you can cover the eggs for maybe a minute or two. Keep the steam in and that will help speed up the process. Okay, while the eggs are cooking, let's go ahead and get the pita ready. You definitely want to have some type of bread to sop up that yummy sauce. So some people use crackers, some people use pita, I've seen people use challah, French bread, anything will work. But this is how we do it in the Old City Kitchen at camp. So you take out your pita, you're gonna put a little bit of olive oil on it, just a little bit, and then use a brush. Let me get out my brush to spread your olive oil all around, and then cover it with some za'atar. Za'atar is an Israeli spice. It has sesame seeds in it. It's made of ground chickpeas and especially grown oregano. It is really fragrant, delicious. Just one smell and it makes you feel like you're in Israel. So we want to use a generous amount. Yeah. Generous amount of za'atar.
Yum.
Yum. And then we're going to put it in the oven for a few minutes to toast up. Add the eggs now. Oh, look at that. Almost ready. I'm going to close it up for a few more minutes, maybe 2 more minutes. Yeah. Okay, everybody, look, it is ready. We're ready to serve. And I want to remind people 2 things. If you're using a cast iron skillet, you can poach your eggs inside the oven. Make sure you wear 2 mitts. The pan is going to be hot and really heavy. Don't forget, 2 hot mitts if you're using a cast iron. If not, you can just use a regular nonstick skillet. Okay, we're going to plate it up for you and show you that we're going to top it with either goat cheese or feta cheese and some fresh basil. Some people like cilantro, any fresh herb on top, delicious. And serve it with that pita that we toasted in the oven. Okay, so when you have fresh basil, you want to roll it up. And cut it with a serrated knife in little tiny strips like this to put on top of your shakshuka. It's going to be great. don't forget, if you're making this as a dinner dish, you can put some ground beef on the bottom. In Israel, sometimes they add eggplant to it to make it heartier.
Yum. I love the sweet potato idea too. I love
Sweet potatoes, so good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Meredith, would you like to top with goat cheese, fresh tomatoes?
All of the above.
Yes, of course.
Basil. Goat cheese. I love goat cheese.
Yes.
See, grab goat cheese. Tomato. A little bit of tomato. And I'm gonna get the pinch of basil. Yum.
Very nice.
Very
And then,
Oh yeah, pita.
don't forget your pita. Nice, all toasty and good.
Delicious. You're gonna use some za'atar?
Yes.
I'll have some za'atar after you.
I hope you guys enjoy the shakshuka.
Absolutely. No question.
And by the way, cooking together is such a fun way to help create a nice community and make friends.
Got a good bite.
Mmm. Delicious.
So good.